welcome to another episode of Full Count Channel. Today we got Steven back on. He's going to talk about what he's been up to over the past couple months, how his holidays were, what he's been seeing, on the renovation side, and then we're going to touch on some of the things that are hot and not for renovations. So stay tuned.
3 balls, 2 strikes, pressure is on. This is where we discuss real estate, property improvement, and business. Together, we'll strategize on how to win. Welcome to the Full Count.
Hey, so what's up, guys? Nick. It's nice to be back. It's funny now that I'm back, Andrew's not here.
Yeah.
So we're kind of like playing tag with each other, but it's good to be back, man. I feel like I've been busy and just missing a bunch of episodes, but I've been keeping up with you guys. And like I said, it's good to be back, start the new year off. It's January 9th, one day away from my 29th birthday. And we're back on the podcast, so it's cool, man.
Yeah, welcome back, Steven. Welcome back. I know it's been a couple episodes since you've been on. It's mainly just been either Andrew and I. So
yeah, you guys
hopefully we get one soon.
Doing great. But yeah, man, just been a lot of work. Just been busy trying to close out the year. Finish up some projects and just making sure that everything kind of continues to go along as smoothly as we can. And yeah, just been real busy. Just whether it's the holidays or it's just work, it's been a lot.
Right. Okay. How were the holidays for you?
It was cool, man. It was good. It was nice to see some family. I have a pretty small family here in LA. So whether it's Christmas or Thanksgiving, we are here, and it's usually just my mom, sister, or dad. And like I said, pretty small gatherings. And I missed the old Mexican family parties at my grandma's house, and there was like 30 people there, all my cousins.
Yeah,
I miss all that side. They're all actually in the East Coast, like Chicago side, but it was good, man.
Oh,
really?
Yours? Yeah, I miss those too. I used to have the big, Italian family, mainly Christmas Eve, where we all got together, and basically the entire night we had lined up with food and tons of people. So haven't had that in a long time, but I had that, when I was younger growing up, and I do miss that.
Yeah, I feel like growing up, Christmas went from like the 23rd to like January 2nd.
Yeah, exactly. The time that you got out of school, that school let out till school let back in.
Yeah.
It was in Christmas the entire time.
Well, yeah, it's been good, man. Just like I said, I actually just got back from Mammoth. I was there this last weekend. I went with a couple buddies and froze my butt off. It's freaking cold up there, but it was beautiful. I've never been up there. Went snowboarding, and it was really cool.
Mammoth.
Where's Mammoth Mountain? It's like Mammoth Lakes.
Oh, okay.
It's like a snowboarding ski resort, about 4.5 hours north of LA.
Oh, okay. Nice.
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah, for all like the West Coast side, I guess that's like the place to go. That's closest to LA. Besides like Big Bear, Mount High. I'm talking like nice big mountains. At least, I thought it was huge. It was I heard it's like 15 times bigger than Big Bear. And if you're not familiar with Big Bear, it's like the closest mountains to us that has a nice, snowboarding and ski resort. So
yeah.
No, I actually grew up snowboarding. It's the first time I'm going like maybe like 2 years.
Oh, nice.
But yeah, I've been going snowboarding since I was like 14, 15.
Oh, okay. Good for you. So you're fairly good at it then.
Yeah, I mean, I don't do anything crazy, but I can go pretty fast and I can hang. It's just cool. I like bombing the mountains and just see how fast I can go. Yeah. Every time I try to hit a jump or something, I end up smacking my head or.
Oh. At least you're at that point.
I feel like I'm too busy these days to try to do something crazy.
Yeah, exactly. You don't want to get hurt, be out of work and all that stuff.
Yeah, but my girlfriend, she'll tell me I'm crazy, and I'm like, I feel like I'm in control for the most part.
No, that's good.
I remember, when I was like 18, 17, I would just think I'm Shaun White and try to do some crazy stuff and always fall, get hurt, come home all bruised up. And I'm like, this time I went, I said, I can't do that anymore.
Right.
Too many responsibilities to get a concussion or something like that.
Yeah, exactly. You don't want to do that. No way. I mean, that's why I like surfing better than snowboarding, though, because if you fall into the water.
That's true.
Snowboarding, you could just wreck yourself. The first time I actually
went, is hard, man. I mean, surfing is hard.
Surfing is hard, but I find it easier than snowboarding for sure.
Really, I found surfing to be so much harder.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well,
So
maybe because I'm small, light. I don't know. Right?
Yeah, I'm not sure, but I thought it was hard. Like surfing to me was impossible.
Yeah, yeah, nice.
So yeah,
Well,
man.
good. I'm glad you didn't get hurt. Did you do anything crazy for New Year's, or just kind of took it easy?
New Year's was cool too. We had a group of friends. We went to where did we go to? Palm Springs. We rented like a really nice
Mm,
house out there. Just had a group of friends. One of our buddies took some guns and got to shoot his like old cowboy style one, like a not a pump action. What was it called? Like
the
I
pellet
don't
gun,
know.
like
It
the
was
BB gun.
freaking cool. It made me want one, huh?
Wait, was it an actual rifle, or was it like a?
Yeah. It was an actual
Okay.
rifle, but it was like the cowboy style where not like a
Oh,
shotgun where you pump it,
right.
or not a bolt action. Oh, it's called a lever action, I believe. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
When
Okay.
you shoot, your hand goes like down and up. And
Yeah.
you shoot again. It was so sick.
Oh, okay. Got it. Nice.
So yeah, took the went off road a little bit. Finally got
Right.
to take the Bronco out, and it was nice. It was cool. I feel like I've had a good couple weekends, and
Yeah.
yeah, because it's just been busy, busy, busy. Whether it's holidays or work, mostly work. So
Right.
these
So you've
last
been
two
working
weekends,
over throughout the holidays.
yeah. So these last 2 weekends to be able to go out and go to Palm Springs, go to Mammoth. It's like the
Hmm.
first time I go and have some fun in a while. So it's been really cool. It's been nice.
Okay. How have you seen things like change over the holidays as you were working?
It started to slow up a little bit. I think
Hmm.
people weren't doing as big projects because they either wanted to have, family gatherings, or they just didn't want their house to be in construction, during the holidays. So I
Yeah.
did notice like some of like the remodeling inside started to slow down a little bit.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, pretty consistent so far, I'd
Okay.
say. Yeah. I think now what I've noticed recently is more
Hmm.
inquiries for like restroom remodels. A lot of people are trying to redo their restrooms.
Oh, really?
And yeah, like I've had several this last week inquiries for restroom remodels.
Okay. So how has that been consistent like since Thanksgiving?
Yeah, sorry, I'm trying to
Mm.
plug in my. I didn't notice I was on a
Yeah, no,
battery.
you're good.
There you go. Well, sorry, what was your question? Since Thanksgiving?
Yeah, since Thanksgiving, has it kind of been that same trend over the past two
Yeah, I
months or
think
so?
since Thanksgiving it's been similar.
Mm,
We were working on a house during the holidays that they wanted to remove their chimney, and
mm.
yeah, that's a major project. So where we kind of just took their entire living room hostage.
Oh, wow.
So luckily they're like, we're spending the holidays somewhere else in somebody else's house. So they're like, go ahead, the house is yours. And they were basically gone for like,
Jeez.
2 weeks. But I did feel like, oh man, just took their entire house hostage, basically, quarantine off area so that we didn't get it all dusty. And
Yeah.
to remove their entire chimney was kind of a big
How,
project. But
so if you don't mind explaining just a little bit how you did that, because don't you have to like pull the whole thing away from the like deconstruct it from the house and then what put up a I don't know
yeah, so
a
basically
wall?
we started from the top. We got
Right.
lucky with this one because it was basically metal frames, like metal framing
Mm, mm. Okay.
surrounded with brick,
Right.
and there's none of it was holding any of the weight of the house. It's basically just a structure itself. So when you tear that down, there's no risk of roof collapsing or anything like that. The way that this one was structured, and then
Oh, okay.
um, there was a part of the ceiling where we had to just join rafters, which is like
Hmm.
the wood beams that run across. We had to
Right.
just join them and extend it so that the roof wouldn't collapse or droop. That
Hmm.
was probably the toughest part. But I mean, really, you just kind of build like a mock frame under the area where you're trying to extend.
Hmm. Hmm.
And as long as you build a secure frame, you just attach the rafters and there's no problem.
Right.
The hardest part would be, I guess, just loading all that brick out. Because I mean, we took a big trailer
Hmm.
and we probably dumped it like 4 times with just brick after brick.
Oh,
Yeah, it
damn.
was a pretty big chimney. So,
Hmm.
but yeah, for the most part, nothing too crazy. Just fix up
Okay.
the roof, patch up the roof, make it look
Was
like
it
nothing was there.
was it one of those chimneys that were on the side of the house, or was it like somewhere more in the
No,
center?
it was dead center.
Oh,
It was
makes
dead
it even
center of the
worse.
house.
Jeez.
Yeah, so it was right in the center. Luckily, no issues, nothing. It went smoothly. Like I said, we
Okay.
just kind of took their house hostage because it was right in the center.
Right.
But
Okay.
yeah,
So
for the most part, yeah, it looks like nothing was there now. I mean, look, they gained a bunch of space because it was a pretty big chimney. So
okay. Nice. Oh, so
yeah,
then
they were
you
pretty
guys
happy
did a
with
good
it. So I'm
job.
happy. Yeah,
That's what you do, right?
yeah, exactly.
Um, so the main thing that you've kind of seen over the past couple months have really been like renovations on bathrooms. Um, other than
Yeah,
the random
I know. And
changes.
then you mentioned some things that Andrew touched on. I think maybe last week too,
Mm-hmm.
was that yeah, just kind of staying away from like offices and things that COVID kind of promoted for a little
Mm-hmm.
while.
Mm-hmm.
People are starting to go outside of their home again.
Right.
I mean, they've been going outside of their home, but it's
Yeah.
not so much of a focus now. And what I've
Mm-hmm.
noticed is that there's actually been a little bit of a trend in like dining areas. So
Interesting. Okay.
improving dining areas, because a lot of people were using that as their home office. Like I know
Right.
Norelli still uses our dining area as her home office. So when she doesn't work from home, when she doesn't work in the office and she's working from home, she
Right.
takes the dining area hostage. But yeah, I've noticed a lot of people are trying to turn that back into like a living space again, and kind of
Mm.
decorating that area to make it feel like more of a place where they want to host
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
gatherings again,
Right.
as opposed to coming home and seeing their paperwork and laptop and computer and everything laying there, and it's not really a dining area.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
So I've been noting a lot of doing a lot of painting, painting up walls and making sure that area looks, I guess, presentable again. If that
Mm-hmm.
makes
Mm-hmm.
sense. Simple flooring jobs, a lot of like laminate flooring in the dining area, just to
Mm-hmm.
give it like a fresh look.
Yeah. Okay. Nice. So have you seen, I know last, a couple episodes ago, Andrew and I, like I mentioned, we're talking about how there's been a decline over the past like 6 months, a year in nice to haves, right? Like in-home gyms, like
Exactly. Yeah.
in-home offices, even things like sauna, jacuzzi, with a slight exception being in-ground pools. But
Mhm.
have you seen that there out in LA?
Personally, no, I haven't, myself done in-ground pools.
Mm-hmm.
The jacuzzi part, I have done platforms. So
Mm-hmm.
I have had where I'm not doing the jacuzzi side of it, but
Right.
concrete slabs in order to come and sit that above ground jacuzzis.
Mm-hmm.
So I have done a couple of those recently within the last 6 months, where people want to add that jacuzzi to their backyard and they need somewhere
Right.
flat.
Right.
So, my job has just been to come in and make basically like a 10 by 10 concrete slab where they can sit the weight and
Mm-hmm.
just be nice and level.
Yeah. But have
But
you
as
seen
far
a
as in-ground
decline
pools, no. Sorry?
in have you seen a decline in those things? Even like outdoor things like gazebos and more tranquil areas
I think as the summer starts to come, I expect those things to come back,
to
as
come
far as
back.
like
Okay.
gazebos and, patio covers.
Right.
Because usually like around, I say like March, people start to like see the sun out here and they're like, oh,
Yeah.
it'd be nice to spend some time out here again. And
Yeah.
then they notice, they go outside, and like this time there's been a lot of rain.
I heard. I heard.
And then this week's supposed to be raining a lot too.
Uh,
So it's when people start to notice, oh man, my patio cover's leaking, or it's really starting to deteriorate. So like
right.
usually like in March we start to get inquiries about repairing their patio covers, and then all of a sudden one little project turns into, what, why don't we just do this whole thing?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I try my best to
Yeah.
minimize,
Accommodate.
or not necessarily minimize, but just be like, hey, this is what you should expect,
Right.
and I don't want your project to turn into something greater unless that's
Mm-hmm.
something you're willing to do. And if you
Right.
are, I'm all for it. But I just hate when I go in and people get surprised with what comes out of a project. I don't ever want somebody to feel like something small got really expensive and now they're having headaches and stress. So I try my
Mm-hmm.
best to give expectations and see how helpful I can be, I guess. But yeah, I
Right.
think patio covers and gazebos should be turning around. That's my expectation.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I haven't seen anything declining as far as from like last year. I think
Right.
it's pretty consistent
Pretty
how
consistent.
it goes up and down.
Nice. Just touching on the one thing that you mentioned with people, being either disappointed or satisfied with, what you've done. Have you ever had a scenario where, you thought you were in good communication with the client, they were happy with what you showed them, what you guys talked about, and then you did everything, and then all of a sudden they come in and they're like, I hate it. Either because they changed their mind or they just had a different vision in their head, you know?
Yeah, no, there was one occasion with miscommunication, but it wasn't so much that they hated the result. It
Mhm.
was more about they got this material from like a different country that came in, and
Mm.
it was sitting at the warehouse for I think like 4 weeks.
Mhm.
And we the whole time were like, hey, when does this material coming in? We were kind of waiting on it. And the company that they ordered it from was supposed to call us and tell us to go pick it up.
Mm-hmm.
So we were just waiting for the call to come in. And then when we got to the client, when like 3 weeks passed, we were like, hey, we haven't heard from them, this and that.
Right.
And they're like, oh no, it was delivered 3 weeks ago. And they got pretty upset because that particular flooring was pretty expensive and it has to acclimate in the home that it's going to be in for at least like a couple days in order to acclimate and then us install it. So we had to get that in, and it just took longer than expected. So they're a little bit upset about that, but it wasn't anything crazy where it wasn't necessarily our fault or their fault. It was just miscommunication. And I think they might have typed in the email wrong or something like that. That's why it never got to us. And I don't know. It was just, it was not cool.
Yeah. So it was more of a delay than anything else.
It was more of a delay. Yeah. But I mean, on our side, it looks kind of bad because it takes longer. But I mean, not much I could do. But for the most part, it's good. Like, that's why it's important to have like a good contract and lay down the expectations. That way, if there's ever an issue, it's like, well, this is the step that we're at.
Right.
This is kind of the breakdown, and you can, we go through the contract together, and I try to explain my best as far as this is what's next, this is what we've done, and there's rarely confusion. And if there is, and I try my best to, break it down.
Right. Yeah. More working on from an engineering, like coding standpoint, a sprint or agile type of work style where you do a piece. Okay, you review with them. You review any changes, in direction, anything like that. They approve it, and you go to the next stage, and you work in sprints rather than complete everything and then they come in and like, what is this?
Yeah, that's like some of those shows sometimes where they're like, oh yeah, they're gonna take them away for a week, and it's like you're just handing your house over, and they don't have any involvement in the design or anything like that. It's like, okay, cool. Like if they're signing up for that, awesome.
Well, that's why the other one I think that makes sense to do that is the love it or list it, because either they're gonna love it or they're gonna hate it.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay,
that's a perfect way of explaining it. Love it or list it.
Yeah. The other ones where they have to keep it, then I mean, and nobody ever has to keep it, but we planned on keeping it. That's a different story, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Would have been, other than the chimney job, what's been some of the other recent projects that you've worked on that are kind of bigger ones?
Yeah. So I did hear about a lot of people talking about, especially now, like in the LA area, about grants, like government grants to build ADUs.
ADUs?
Yeah. So additional dwelling units, basically converting.
Oh,
really? So converting like a garage into, like a rental property, basically that's separate from the house, whether it's attached or detached. And just converting that space into a living space where then the homeowner can either rent it while they still live there, or rent the property and the ADU and just kind of have like two incomes, as opposed to just renting out the house with a garage. Now it's a house and like another little 1 or 2 bedroom, apartment style place. So we have had, in the last 6 months, we've worked on a couple of those, converting the garage into that. And those have been some of the bigger ones. I'm not too familiar as far as what that government grant is like.
Yeah, we have to look into that, because usually I'm actually very surprised to hear that, because that's the first time I've heard that. And usually when governments, send out grants like that, it's to bring in.
I think it's somewhere like the $40,000 to $50,000. Kind of like a rebate or something you can call it, that they give back. Yeah. So if ADU costs anywhere from, let's say, like $120,000 to convert it, the government is giving you back somewhere around 40 to 50, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. Do you know if there's a population housing problem there? Maybe I'm not too familiar. I mean, I have to look this up, but I know
think it did have something to do with that, where they're having an issue with housing and affordable housing.
Right.
And and I think that's where that's coming from, to incentivize homeowners basically to have lower income, or how do I say it? Less expensive housing.
Right. Okay. Yeah, we could take a look, deeper dive in that. And
we should. Let me see
next time. But if anybody knows,
I don't think they're offering it anymore in 2023, though. However.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and like I said, I'm just kind of talking as far as things that I've heard.
Yeah.
But I did notice that ADU building, as far as like my business, did go up. We did get a lot of not referrals. We did get a lot of inquiries for it, and we actually did work on some recently. That's more than like last year, so it did speed up. I hope those continue, because I mean, those are as long as you do a good job and working through with the permits and making sure that you're up to code and all that. It's pretty smooth sailing, and I enjoy doing those.
Interesting. Okay, what's the oddest thing that you had to convert?
Well, I mean, it's just the position, or like the condition that a garage is in.
Okay.
I guess would be.
There been some that have been pretty bad.
Yeah, some of them have been a little bad, where it's like, how was this even standing? Like the water damage, and like they're like, yeah, it's because there was about a 6-inch flood right here where the water pooled. And it's like every time it rained, all the water went to that corner, and it was like, yeah, I can tell that wall's flooded and full of mold. Like,
right.
But yeah,
I mean, in that case, why wouldn't they just demolish it and put up something new? I mean, would it be more cost efficient to do that?
No, it's actually not that bad to replace like a wall.
Oh, okay.
I mean, as long as the rest is okay, yeah.
Yeah.
And like I said, as long as the engineer and the city passes and it's all good, no problem. Yeah. No sense in. But then there did have to be fixing as far as leveling the floor and making sure that whatever is happening when the water comes doesn't go back to that position.
Right. Okay. Interesting. Yeah. Interesting. Huh.
But I did see that's something that I think I did see an increase in, and I wonder if the government's not giving grants in 2023 for that, I maybe you'll see it start to decline. But yeah, I don't know. I think in LA that's something that's going to continue. That's my guess, because of the housing. The people are looking for housing,
right?
And just the opportunity, if you're like a homeowner and have a garage back there that could be making you money, or paying,
why not
more than half, if not half your mortgage, or I mean, why not?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, when I'm looking for places like investment places, that's one thing I'm looking for, is to see if it has like a mother-in-law suite or something that you could also rent, because you get a 2-for-1, right?
Yeah, and then if not, then the area that you're buying, does it allow for that?
Exactly.
And if it does, then that's a plus. In the future, you can plan on doing that. Like, that's my goal with the house that we're in right now.
Yeah,
my goal is to make our house as nice as we can for our living condition and standard or whatever, and be comfortable and be happy with our home. And then once we're ready, take that next step with the garage, convert it, and then at that point basically split the property into rent them both out. And then at that point, Norelli and I can be somewhere else.
Right.
And hopefully have this property not only paying itself, but helping us with the other property.
Right.
That's the goal.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, that's the way to do it. Right. I mean,
exactly. Yeah.
I think. Yeah. Hey, are you planning on doing that? I don't know what's the time frame on that, do you think?
I imagine we'd be in this house for about 5 years. Because let's see, I'm 29. So maybe by the time I'm 34, I plan on. Oh, no, he's gonna sound like she's gonna be like kids. But the goal is, like, when we get the next property, would be because we're ready to have kids, which I plan to be like around 33 to 34.
Yeah, you're making me feel really old now.
I know, even just saying that out loud, it's like, oh man. But we live in a pretty small house here. So I think in the future, when that next step comes, is probably to grow our family and but I want to enjoy this house, as for a little while at least. We've put a lot of work and a lot of time and effort, so I want to be able to enjoy it for at least a good 4 or 5 years. We've been here for about 1.5 years now too. So
yeah, I mean, from just what I've seen over camera, I mean, it looks pretty nice. So hopefully I'll see it at the end of March for Andrew's wedding. So
yeah, I'm excited about that too.
Yeah, I heard you got invited, so I look forward to it. It's gonna be a good time. And Vegas for his bachelor party.
Oh, okay. You didn't know about that. So.
Right. Anybody out there in Vegas end of March, let us know. Come on, join in.
What's your this little side note? How do you feel about Vegas? Because I feel like Vegas is just.
Oh yeah, it's going down. I mean, into the apparently. I mean, I haven't been, so I'm looking forward to going. But
you haven't been? Okay, I mean, it's fun. It's really fun.
Yeah, right, exactly, for a weekend, right?
So like you
I
said,
mean, I do know some people that go and they spend like a week, 2 weeks there, and I think that's a little much. But
3 days tops.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
My dad's
cousin actually lives there. He's lived there, I don't know, for the past 10 plus years.
Yeah, damn.
But he also gets into trouble. So he's a little bit of a floater.
That's funny.
So I guess it works out. He's a good guy though.
I don't think I'd be able to live there, man. I've heard like that. So the construction scene in Las Vegas was pretty nuts too. I've heard that there was a lot of booms. I had a friend out there who was a contractor and was talking about the amount of windows that he was replacing. He says his whole business basically became changing windows.
Really?
Yeah. So I don't know if a lot of the houses were being built.
Interesting.
Maybe a lot of the houses he was working on were a little bit older.
Yeah.
And needed to update their windows. But he said he was doing a bunch of windows just every day. Couldn't stop. Just boom, boom, boom. He's like, I basically don't remodel anymore. He's like, I've just been doing windows.
Hey, if that's where the money
is.
He
had like the best year he's had.
There's a demand, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, the only thing I could think of is that, like you said, they were older houses, and for the heating and the cooling, because it gets so extreme there.
Exactly.
But other than that, I don't know. I couldn't think of another reason why there'd be so many window changes.
Yeah, I don't know.
People want new windows, put in stained glass. Who knows?
Yeah.
But all right, so I guess we could switch over and start talking about kind of your outlook on the next, 6 to 9 months. Where do you see things going? I know you mentioned, some of those nice to haves maybe coming back as the summer comes around, weather gets nicer. But other than that, I guess due to the weather, do you see any other major changes as far as renovations go and what's in, what's out?
No. So I've read articles and I've seen, different interior designing and stuff like that. And it's just what I always end up telling the clients is that at the end of the day, it's kind of what you like and what's important to you. Right. Yeah. So you can I can tell you what I like as far as color schemes, material, whether it's wood, tile, whatever, stone. I can tell you what I like. This is how I explain it to them. I can tell you what I like. I can tell you what I've worked on, and I can show you pictures. Right. But what I like and what you like is not always the same.
Yeah, it's different.
And just because some magazine says that this trend is going this way, doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to like to come home to it every day.
Yeah.
Right.
Because you got to look at it. You got to live with it.
You got to look at it. And even if you're hosting one party a month, it's like at the end of the day, you live there. You want to love your kitchen. You want to love your patio. You want to love your backyard, your restroom, whatever it may be. That's your home. Right. And if you're going to be living there for the next 5 to 10 years, then you should like it.
Yeah.
Now, if you're going to be living there for the next 2 years and you plan on flipping or selling, well, then maybe you can start to consider whether it's going to be a more inexpensive option or something that's going to be durable or whatever, rental property, whatever it may be. Those are the things you consider. But yeah, as far as that's my outlook. That's what I always try to tell them. Now, if they ask for my opinion, then yeah, I would love to, tell them.
Right.
And then I give them inspo based off of work that I've done in the past. And like some of the restrooms, I know subway tile was like in and then an out and then back in. And I feel like a lot of the tile in the restrooms these days they have like these tile accent walls basically where tile is from the floor all the way up and it's behind the vanity. I feel like a lot of the restrooms I've been doing were either large format tiles that go from the floor all the way to the ceiling. And then they just put like a beautiful mirror or accent lighting.
Interesting.
And it's kind of, you go in and you're like, oh, wow, that's a beautiful wall because of the pattern on the tile or the color. And it's not just drywall and painted. It's like an actual, like a statement wall in your restroom.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Are you seeing differences?
Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
Or they go more of a simple tile and then they do like statement lighting and statement mirror.
Oh, okay.
On that tile wall. Sorry, my dogs are just battling,
No, you're fine. Have you seen a difference between, like middle class residential homes to, I don't know if you do any bigger luxury homes there in
Mhm.
LA, but have you seen a difference with what people are renovating, what they're putting in, how they're decorating, that kind of stuff?
Yeah, so a lot of the upper, how do you say, like the more expensive houses,
Right.
their kitchens, they make sure that the stone that they use, what I've noticed is that the stone that they use is going to be either like granite or quartz. And they're not afraid to go with the more of a statement piece,
Right.
because a lot of the times they'll have it for a couple of years and they're like, you know what, we'll change it out again.
Yeah.
So they're not as afraid to go a little bit bolder.
hmm
Where like the middle income, or how do I say it, like affordable projects, they tend to go with the more neutral or like natural colors that kind of blend with other things. And they're probably also thinking in the future about either reselling or just kind of adding value to something that most people can agree with as far as color tones.
Right.
But yeah, and like I said, the higher end homes, they're not afraid to be like, let's try what that looks like, and it might
Yeah.
be crazy. I like it,
Yeah.
and then
And then
boom,
if
they'll go
not,
for it.
they'll
Because
rip
they
it
know
out
that the
and do it
next person that
again.
comes in is not afraid to just tear it down and do it again anyways.
Right. Exactly. Interesting. So for people that are looking to do renovations, right?
Yeah.
What would you recommend to them? I mean, at least they're in LA, right? Whether it's a middle class, like single family home,
Mhm.
or a larger luxury home, for them to do to get the most bang out of their buck.
I would say to do a little bit of research as far as what goes into the whole process, like this chimney job, right?
Right.
So when they came in, I tried to do my best to tell them, hey, you have to consider what happens when you get rid of that chimney.
Yeah.
So when you get rid of that chimney, not only are we damaging the walls next to it because it was in a corner, right? And obviously those walls have to get new drywall and all that in order to get it to look like nothing was there.
Yeah.
But now there's this big corner piece there also where the floor, the hardwood floor ends at that chimney because it was all tile. So you need to add a subfloor layer, right? And then the flooring on top. I said, in the flooring that you have, usually manufacturers change their flooring like every 3 to 5 years. So the floor, and their floor was built a long time ago. I said, so the
So
flooring
you're
that
not
you
able to
have,
find it.
you're probably not going to find it in store. You're going to have to get it like custom milled at like a wood place, like a lumber yard where they can mill that wood again. So it might be a little more expensive to get that type of material. So you think, okay, let's get rid of this chimney, right? All right, cool. So now you get rid of the chimney, but you got to replace the floor, and you got to do a little bit in order to get the floor safe and structural wise. Then the ceiling, well, now it's like the recessed lighting that they have was around that chimney and had a certain shape. Now that the chimney's gone, that area looks a little bit darker because there's no lighting there. Or the lights look off because it's like now it looks like the lights are not in the right position because it opened up that entire corner.
Right.
So then I try to explain that to them. And I recommend also considering adding lights in that area to make it look even. Then you're looking at the risk of like, even if I do get that flooring in order to get the stain to match perfectly with what you have right now is going to be pretty difficult because the floor that I'm trying to match has 10, 15 years of wear and tear on top of a stain.
Right.
So even if I color match it, it's going to look new compared to your wear and tear. So there's going to be like a slight difference.
Yeah.
Even
So that
if
would
the
be a
colors are
renovation.
exactly the same.
Yeah, that would be a renovation that's not necessarily worth it.
And no, believe me, I think it looks good. I think it came out nicely.
Right.
And
No, but I
looked
mean,
at
as
it.
far as the amount of money and time put into it versus what you're getting out of it is maybe, an increase in equity.
Right. Yeah, that would be
Right.
more of a personal.
Do because you want it.
That's because you want it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's like because we never use the chimney. Like it's we have central heating or whatever, and we never use the chimney. And now it's just taking. And it was a big chimney.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I guess
so that was more because they want it.
Yeah, in that case, it might be saving them on heating and cooling. I mean, especially heating.
Yeah, and the house got hot too. Their heating worked very well.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, that's good.
So yeah, something
Um,
I guess to go back to your question was like
mhm,
some advice is to do a little bit of research as far as, okay, is it just doing this or is there a little bit more to it?
mhm,
You know, and I always, like I said, I try my best to not give surprises
mhm,
where it's like I give you a quote and then you agree, you sign, we start, and it's like, well, look at this problem we ran into. It's
mhm.
like, no, I try to tell you that problem before we even get there.
Right.
That way, my quote is like encompassing all the problems that I know are going to happen.
Mhm.
And like, I'll tell you, this is the quote, but this is expected after. So
Right.
be wary. And if you're okay with that, let's move forward.
Right.
And then it's cool. Less surprises.
Okay.
And then some that's happened where it's like, oh, that didn't happen. Cool. But we'll stick with the original quote. And good thing the contract doesn't say this other stuff. It was just like a fair warning of what to expect.
Right.
And then sure enough, didn't happen. Beautiful. Our original estimate stays and all goes smoothly.
Mhm.
All
Now,
goes smoothly is like
yeah, yeah. It's a relative term, right?
yeah, and it's funny. I talk to people about working with contractors and I listen, man. I try to listen as much as I can because everybody
Mhm,
has a bad story about a contractor and it
mhm.
sucks. It's just I don't want to be that. So
Right. Now, if somebody's looking to, they say they have an older home, they're looking to eventually renovate all of it, but they don't know what room to start with.
mhm.
What would you recommend them starting with in order to get the most value and like increase in equity? Would it be the kitchen, the bathroom, living
Yeah,
room? Where would it
I
be?
would say the kitchen. I feel like the
Yeah.
kitchen's always, yeah.
Still pretty strong, right?
Yeah, I would argue
Yeah.
that the kitchen would probably be a good place to start.
Hmm.
Um,
I agree.
yeah, and then probably
The
like
heart of the
kitchen
home.
to, yeah, it's part of the home. I agree. Yeah, like when we were in here, when we
Uh,
bought our house, we didn't start in the kitchen. We actually started in our bedroom.
oh, okay.
So we remodeled our bed because we did most of the house here. I mean, we remodeled everything. My girlfriend, my dad, and I,
Hmm.
and buddies that would come help. But we started in our bedroom because we knew we had to get in here. So our bedroom was nice, our bed, everything, walls were painted, everything, lighting, beautiful,
Right.
blah blah blah. Then you open our door to our hallway, and it was all plywood. It was all
Oh,
plywood, and
wow.
the walls were still like not finished drywall. Nothing was painted. Recessed can lights were sticking out, and it was just like it was a nightmare.
Yeah.
But that
Yeah.
was different. We were trying to get into our house and just
Exactly.
needed a little room to be able to live in.
Yeah.
But if your house is in a good condition, as far as like it's already okay, and maybe you
Hmm.
just want to upgrade it or change it. It's not like our house where we completely gutted it. So
Yeah.
we just needed a clean room to live in.
Yeah, exactly. Something to, close the door, be tranquil at night, get some rest.
Exactly. Yeah, so that was a little different. But if you're
Yeah.
already in a good living space and you just want to update or upgrade things, I think the kitchen's always a good place to start.
Hmm.
Um, and I think bedrooms are usually relatively simple.
Hmm.
If you're doing the floor in the entire house, then yeah, you're gonna get to it. But bedrooms are
Right.
usually simple because they're usually either just paint jobs or flooring or windows, and
Hmm.
those are pretty quick remodels. So the ones that do take a little bit longer are going to be restrooms and kitchens.
Hmm. Hmm. Okay. Yeah, I mean, because there's so much more to it. I mean, you have
Right. Yeah.
water,
There's
gassing,
different trades. Yeah.
pipes,
Whether
all of
it's
that.
drywall, plumbing,
Yep.
carpentry. There's
Hmm.
different trades to it. Painters.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. Awesome. All right. Yeah, I guess we could switch over and kind of talk about kind of what's hot and what's not,
All
um,
right.
and how it compares to what was published, I guess, in the Wall Street Journal a couple of weeks back, and
Okay.
what they proclaimed to be hot and not coming in 2023. So I know the first thing that they said was out was the bigger, like, look at me fixtures, like the weird lighting fixtures that come from the ceiling, and they're kind of trendy, or they were
Right. Like a
trendy.
lot of like the metallic, weird shaped bends to it. You're talking about.
Right,
I
right.
see that too. Now, like going back to it. Okay.
Hmm.
This is a great article, and it does a good job of breaking down describing what's out and what's not. But at the end of the
Hmm.
day, like I always tell people, man, it's your home. Okay,
right.
it's your home, and we're going to touch on this article and say what's hot and what's not. Have you ever been in somebody's house and you're like, that is strange, I wouldn't do it myself, but damn, that looks good in this space?
Yeah, and it's probably one of
Yeah,
the favorite things about their house to them,
exactly.
you know?
But yeah, to go back
Mm,
on that,
I agree with you.
and to contrast that, they say that what's in, as opposed to, the bendy glass or metal chandeliers, they're saying that
Mhm,
what's in, according to that, contrast to that, is plastered chandeliers,
mhm,
or more like neutral tones, like whites and stuff,
right.
right? And to
Have you
me,
seen that there, like, with your clients?
no, I've actually still seen kind of like the big statement chandeliers, a lot of like
Chandeliers,
the
okay.
black, more rustic, black
Right.
looking, um, longer, lower hanging in big
Mhm.
spaces.
Yeah,
So big, tall ceilings, longer, like lower hanging, longer chandeliers is what I've seen,
right.
and darker.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
whether it's
which
like
is
your gold, your copper, um, and
mhm,
dark,
mhm,
like black metal.
right. It makes sense, though, there in LA because everybody's flashy. I think they'll always be flashy.
Yeah, this article makes a good point about the new chandeliers that are in. It says something along the lines of them kind of blending in
Mhm,
or kind of going out of style soon.
mhm.
Then, I think it goes back to my point that if it's going to go out of style and you're just trying to follow a trend, so you're
Yeah,
going to be chase the dragon all the time.
exactly. You're gonna be renovating it once every 6 months.
Yeah.
Um, but alright, so yeah, that goes as far as lighting. The next thing that they had on here was kind of what we already touched on was
Yeah,
is what is out is the makeshift, work from home offices.
correct.
And then what's in is the return of the dining room, and that's one of the first things that you said. So I'm
Yeah,
glad that you've been seeing that there.
yeah. That's a great point. I think
Mhm.
that more people are starting to get together, and I think it's been a while now. I think a lot of people are kind of getting over the whole COVID situation, or
Yeah.
they should be over it.
Been
I think. I'll stop
I
there
mean, even
much.
though there's so many other viruses going around now,
Right.
including that, but that's another discussion,
Yeah.
including what I'm recovering from. So I apologize on the nasally.
But yeah, the dining room area, people are putting a little bit more focus in that, and spending more time there, as opposed to, it says here, right? It says, as opposed to like having a TV in the background, they're trying to create more of
Right.
like what does it say, like a restaurant style area where you
Yeah.
can go and feel comfortable in there,
Right.
and kind of dressing that area up.
Mhm.
That way you can
Mhm.
have date night at home and have people come over or whatever. And yeah, I think I've seen that, where even if
Mhm.
I'm remodeling somebody's restroom or kitchen or whatever, I have passed a couple dining tables and dining areas where I'm like, oh, that looks really nice.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah, I agree. I think, everybody should have a dining room for when they have people over and that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
Even though most people use the kitchen table in their kitchen, right? But it's I think it's a good thing to have, especially if you have a family.
I
Yeah.
agree. Yeah, kind of separate from
From like
the
every day,
TV.
for holiday special occasions, you go
Yeah,
into the dining room. That's what I mean. That's how my family always used to use the dining room for.
yeah.
All right, so I know the next thing is more about furniture, which, to be honest, I don't even first time I've heard of
How do you
boucle.
say that? Yeah,
I don't know, boucle. Uh,
boucle
I don't
bust.
know. It looks like some kind of like cotton or suede.
I know. I don't know how to say it. I know exactly what that is, and I've actually seen a lot. If you go to Target, you see a lot of those
Yeah,
chairs.
yeah,
And
you
they
do.
look really nice. I personally, I think
Hmm.
they look really nice. I like the white cottony look contrasting with like a nice wood color.
Hmm.
In
Hmm.
my opinion, it looks good. But this says it's on its way out,
Yeah, and that
and
velvet's coming in. Velvet
velvet.
used to be
Well,
in quite a
performance.
long time ago, like back in the '90s, I think, right?
Yeah, but this says performance
Yeah,
velvet, which if you
yeah,
read a little
performance
bit,
velvet.
it talks about, I guess, it being more durable and still like
Hmm.
kid friendly, which is pretty cool because yeah, with velvet, you breathe on it the wrong way and it's gonna leave a mark.
Yeah, exactly.
So I don't know
Especially
what
if you have
performance
pets.
velvet is, but it says here it's a little bit more family friendly, which is great.
Yeah,
Technology these days improving. That's awesome.
yeah, it's probably conditioned in a certain way. Um, all right, and then the next thing, which we kind of touched on already, is the grout in the tile kind of going out, the subway tile specifically, and then
Right.
the splashy slabs of marble. So the ones that are kind of look like paint's just been splashed on them. Have you seen a lot of those?
That's kind of what I was referring to as far
Those
as taking
display
risks in
marble.
kitchens. Yeah.
Okay.
Where, a little bit on the higher end, they're not afraid to do that splashy marble.
Right.
Where not everybody might like it.
Mhm.
That's the kind that maybe somebody comes in, oh, that's nice. And
Yeah.
I wouldn't do that in my house. But it's
Right.
like type of thing. But yeah, they're a little bit more risk takers. And you know what? Seeing this grout is out thing,
Uh-huh.
I I I didn't think about that until now.
Hmm.
But I have noticed in restrooms, even those accent walls that I was talking about,
Mhm.
the hexagon shape. So the six-sided tiles that look about the size of a dinner plate,
Yeah.
those have been really popular, whether it's on the floor or on that accent wall.
Huh.
I've been seeing a lot of the hexagon shaped tile.
The bigger ones, not the smaller ones, right?
No, yeah, not the smaller
Okay.
ones. They'll match the smaller ones for the shower pan, so where
Right.
like your shower drains,
Mhm.
they'll use those,
Yeah.
the smaller ones, but like dinner
Overall.
size plate hexagons on the floor on the outside or on that accent wall.
Okay.
And
Yeah,
those
no,
actually, I really like that. I've been doing those a lot recently, and I'm like, this is
really.
beautiful. Because my shower has vertical tiles,
Right.
subway tiles, and I mean I like it, but
Mhm.
I see the hexagon ones. I'm like, this looks pretty cool too.
Yeah, yeah. It's it's, uh, it's
I'm
different
becoming
because
that
like the
person that I'm
contrast to
saying
it.
I'm chasing the trend. I'm about
Yeah,
to
right,
redo my restroom.
exactly. Do you
Mhm.
actually question for you on that, do you ever see the, like, misshaped tiles that they try to make it look like it's, just been rocks kind of piled in there? They're not
Uh,
actual rocks, they're tiles, but they're just all mismatched, like, they're all different shapes.
like the smaller ones, or
Some will be bigger, some will be smaller, and they're just kinda, like, stacked up and
you're not
put
talking about the
on.
ones that come like in a sheet, like a square, where they're like with a mesh, kind of like a backsplash style.
Uh,
Or
no,
you're
I've
talking about
seen
actual.
I yeah, I've seen some where they basically cut the tiles all different shapes. So some would
Oh,
be like
interesting. I can't
oblong.
picture it. Yeah, I
Yeah,
don't
and
think
it's
I've done
kinda
any of
like
that.
if you built a wall with stones almost, with, like, all
Mm,
mismatched stones, that's kinda what it looks like, but you shaved it down flat.
nice. Yeah, no, I haven't
You
seen
haven't
that.
seen that much, no?
No,
Mm,
I'll have to look that up. That sounds
yeah,
interesting.
yeah. I think that's maybe more trendy in, places like the mid like Colorado and that kinda stuff. I
Like a
saw that a lot.
cabiny look,
Yeah, yeah,
kind
cabinet
of.
look, exactly. But I saw that a lot when I was in Canada. A number of
Right
the
on.
bathrooms kinda had that type of style.
Nice.
Um, but yeah, and then I guess the last things that they mention on here, I don't know, to be honest, I'm not even familiar with these are. Icy Scandy rooms versus moody hues being in,
Yeah, I think what it
like
means.
dramatic color palettes being in.
Yeah, I think what it means by that is it's going away from like your more neutral. Like it even mentions IKEA here, and I
Mhm.
think what it means by Scan is like the Scandinavian. Isn't IKEA from somewhere in that area?
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
So I think what it's talking about is like the whites, like light tan colors with like wood, a lot of
Mhm,
accent, like wood colors is kind of going out.
mhm.
And what's coming in is like darker, bolder walls where it's like more moody. It talks about mood,
Yeah,
where you go into a certain room and it's like, it literally says here, it's kind of setting the mood or the tone of the room.
of the room. Mhm, mhm.
Yeah. But see, that's the thing with these moody hues and having like that darker walled room. I don't imagine them sticking around
Yeah,
too long.
yeah, I don't
That's a
either.
trend that
Those
I don't think is going to be around for too long.
yeah. The it kinda reminds me of the wood paneling, like, back in, what was it, 70s.
Yeah, yeah.
So it reminds me of, um
I feel like somebody's going to be like, this is great. And then in 6 months, they're like, why is our room purple?
I I hate this, we gotta get
I
rid of
hate
it.
this.
Uh,
But yeah, I think it looks good. Just, I might not last.
yeah, no, definitely not. Um, okay. Well, I guess anything else that you might wanna add to that we haven't talked about?
There was one thing. Let's see. Um, as far as Oh,
Hmm.
I've been doing a lot of dark walls, like office spaces. Like if they have an office room,
Really?
I've recently had like 3 paint jobs where they wanted 2 black walls, so actual
Hmm.
blacked out walls
Hmm.
with like wood, dark wood, either cabinets, natural wood
Right.
cabinets. I feel like I've seen that more than usual.
Interesting. Okay. So
No,
more dark tones, kind of.
which kind of goes to that
Or-
moody one, but that moody one talks about, like maroon colors and purples ish and
Yeah.
dark blues. Um, I guess a black would kind of fall into that category.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. True.
You know
Interesting.
what I'm saying? Where it's like,
Yeah.
put it this way: I walked when we finished it. I felt like it's a good place to smoke a cigar. I'm like, this seems like a cool place to sit on a leather chair and smoke a
Or some
cigar. I was like, that sounds cool.
yeah, whiskey on the rocks, have a cigar. There
Exactly.
you
Yeah.
go.
Yeah.
Talk some business,
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, too funny. All right, interesting. Yeah, I couldn't have a dark, especially a dark office. I can maybe do a
Mhm.
dark bedroom just because I need it dark at night anyway. But
Mhm.
yeah, dark office, I don't know. I would get depressed in there.
Really, I feel like I liked it. I feel
Oh,
like,
really?
yeah, I liked it. I thought it was
Mm,
really cool. I'm a
mm.
sucker for like wood colors. I mean, not
Oh,
wood pieces as an accent to like dark colors. I think it's great.
right, right. Interesting. All right. Yeah, and that goes back to what you said, every to each his own, right?
Yeah, like I said, at the end
Yeah,
of the day, you're the one paying for the remodel. So if you like it, you're gonna live in it. I'm all for
exactly.
it.
Yep.
I'll do what I can to make it look as best as I can.
There you go. That's what you do best.
Yeah.
Just to wrap up, uh, do you have any jobs lined up that you kind of want
Yeah.
to just mention that might be big jobs or different jobs?
Yeah, I'm waiting to hear back on this possible church remodel, which I've never
Church
done a
remodel.
church.
Okay.
Yeah, this place is it's a small church, and they're
Mm-hmm.
looking to basically tear it down and rebuild.
Hmm.
And that would be probably one of actually the biggest job that I would be working on,
Right.
because it would be probably, I would say, somewhere around a year to like a year and a half to complete, because it'd be a really big project. So knock on wood, I'm hoping to get that. Besides that, like I said, a lot of ADUs coming this way,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and I think it has to do with that incentive.
Right.
Yeah, but I'd be happy with ADUs. I'll stick with those all day. Those are fun.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
lastly, actually, I'm
Great.
really trying to get into solar installation.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Is
Mhm.
that, do you still see a lot of people looking to do that?
Yeah, I still see people trying to convert into that.
Okay.
And what I've heard is that a lot of solar companies are looking for installers.
Mm-hmm.
So I've heard of some companies being so busy that they have like a little bit of a wait list, and it's like, if
Hmm.
I can jump in there and help install, then
Yeah.
let's do
Why
it.
not?
Yeah,
Yeah. Wherever the demand is, right?
exactly.
Gotta make that money.
Yeah,
Cool. Interesting. Well, yeah, keep us posted on how that goes. If you
we'll
end
do,
up,
man.
getting in on that. Is there anything else that you want to mention before we end it?
No, if you guys stuck around to the end, thank you. It's nice to be back. I hope I can be on here a little bit more consistent. And I've had a crazy last couple months. I'm sure we all have. And
Yeah.
now that the holidays died down, and we can finally get together, Nick. And yeah, thanks guys for sticking around. I really appreciate it, and I hope to see you guys some more. Nick, can't wait to see you at Andrew's wedding.
I know.
Bachelor
First
party and
time
all
meeting
that
you in
shit.
person.
Yeah.
All
Well,
right.
thanks, man. It's good to see you.
Yeah. All right. Thanks all. And we'll see you on the next one.
We'll do, man.